Okay. So ayun guys, no, kung halimbawa hindi pa kayo nakapag-subscribe, please do so. Nakapin na sa comment box yung YouTube channel. I hope you can help us and subscribe. And then hit nyo na rin yung bell button para at least ma-notify kayo kapag nakapag-post na tayo nung mga contents natin. Okay, so having said that, now let's proceed. No? Ano yung unahin natin? Okay, SM. SM had, well, as we know, SMD, the holding firm, not SMPH. So, SM as a holding firm, we saw na yung latest earnings report niya down by almost 69%, almost 70% actually. And this is due to the COVID pandemic. Since majority of its subsidiaries halos down din. So for example, SMPH, BDO is also down, China Bank, puro down sila because of the pandemic. Of course, syempre, especially pagdating sa mga malls, where I think about 40% of 70% ng SMPH is on the malls. And as we know, malls right now are closed. Kung meron mang open, sobrang limited lang yung kanilang capacity. No? And because of that, yung earnings nila ay affected. And then, of course, they tried to help out sa mga tenants nila by giving them parang mga grace periods. Because, well, at the end of the day, kailangan nilang kumita kahit paano. Diba? So, which is good. But unfortunately, it affects the bottom line of the stock. Okay? Now, on the technical side naman, we can see here na the stock is quite, I would say, quite boring. It's consolidation on the 780 to 1,000 price range. And at the moment, it is trading at around 900 pesos. This blue line corresponds to MA50 and this red line corresponds to MA200. No? And as we can see, at the moment, the stock price is below those moving averages, which tells me that they are still on a negative bias at the moment. Okay. Now, if you're a holder of SMPH or of SM and naghahanap ka pa lang ng pwedeng plano sa kanya, then I would say you can have a target of 1,000, no? And then you can have a cut loss at around 880. So cut loss 880 and the target is 1,000. Medyo maliit lang yung upside na nito, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, about 13% lang. No? But then again, since you're a holder, then I suppose that's okay. Kung nag-aabang kayo kay SMPH at this time, hindi ko siya nakikita ng magandang movement, no? Although meron ka makikitang malaking volume dito, hindi ko alam kung bakit. Kung anong meron dito sa volume na to at bigla siyang lumaki. Maybe it's a block sale or something, no? So ayun, hindi ko kasi nasusubaybayan si SM, so I don't know what's really happening about the stock. So ayun, again, kung nag-aabang kayo kay SM, I would just wait dito above the dalawa MA200 to break the MA200 line at around 950 or mag-breakout play na lang siya at 1,000. Okay? Ngayon, pero kung halimbawa you are a long-term subscriber or long-term investor for SM, then I can still see SM as a good prospect long-term, no? When we say long-term, I'm talking about 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Okay? So, ganun ang long-term for me. Okay? So, yan. That's my take on SM. Now, let's move on to the next one, which is BDO. Okay. So, BDO. BDO is quite interesting. As we have discussed nung nakaraan, earnings is down. Half of the year, earnings is down by almost 80%. Ito yung kasama, isa sa mga subsidiaries ni SM. Okay. And as we know, yeah, 80% down siya. Apart from that news, wala na ako nakikitang bagong news with BDO. That means it's now pure price action na lang. Okay? Now, with that price action, we go to the technicals. With dito sa technicals, we can see no na the price the stock is doing a consolidation from the downtrend registered way back nung nag-start itong COVID-19. Okay? Price range is at around 85 pesos up until 115. So medyo malaki, which is good. That means you can trade the range, no? Because this is still about 35% na potential upside. Okay. We have already reviewed BDO in the past. Kaya nakikita nyo may mga doodles na tayong ginawa dito. And ayun nga, no, nung nakita natin yung stock, it appears na itong 85 pesos or 84.80 is doing a really strong support para doon sa stock. It hit the support line almost, 3 times na. So, first in March, second in May, and then ito nga, nung August lang. And whenever it hits that support line, we can see a bounce. No? So, from here, ito nag-bounce dito. From here, nag-bounce ulit siya dito. That means, di ba nga, history repeats itself until proven otherwise. So, looking at that notion, then the expectation is for BDO to hit the etong range na to hit 115 ulit. And then from then on, we'll see kung it will break out or mauntog ulit siya. Okay? So, for the holders, hopefully nakakuha kayo sa medyo baba, no? So, that is totally fine. You can target the 115 and you can also place your cut loss at 85 pesos. Maybe at this time kasi it's 92 na, no? So, I think okay na yan. Please beware lang about the potential psychological resistance at the whole number. Psychological resistance at whole number meaning 5, 10, 15, 20. For BDO's case, that will be 100. Okay? So, pero mukha namang kaya naman niyang mabasag ng maayos ang 100. 'Di ba? I think kaya naman. And if it does, then 115 would be even more realistic para sa stock. Okay? So, ayun, kung halimbawa nag-aantay kayo ng entry point for BDO, then again, I think at this time, given the price range, the price range, I think it's still a good upside, no, at around 22%. So I think possible pa, pwede pa siya. Okay, pero kung gusto niyo medyo may mas malinaw na signal, then watch for this MA50 line, no? Probably it will reach at around 95 pesos. So at 95, ayun, and 100. Ayan. So that's my take on BDO. Let's see. Sabi ni Chi Roque, good evening sa'yo, FNI. Meron pa tayo FNI? Wala yata. So I'll add FNI here. Kalimlim Sian, thank you. Angelo, ang labo po ata ng screen. Malabo ba? Guys, can you confirm kung malabo ba talaga? Baka, or kay Michael lang yon. So I can make some changes. I don't know kung paano. Kasi I'm already broadcasting at 1080. Naka full HD na ako. na resolution on my end. So I'm not sure. So I'm interested to know sa iba kung malabo ba o malinaw yung view ninyo dito sa sa screen. Sabi ni June, okay po yung screen. Sabi ni Jomar, clear. Kaloy, clear naman din. Okay. Uh, if that's the case, Michael, baka connection. Um, ang ginagawa kasi ng Facebook is it adjust yung resolution nung screen mo depende sa internet connection. So baka naka 144p ka lang or 240p. No? So I think 'yon. What you can do is ano na lang try to rejoin yung meeting, yung live para hopefully that will reset yung resolution. Yan. Okay. Sabi ni Kaloy, Meg. Sige, I'll add Meg. Again, I'll try to complete those pero and hopefully matapos natin siya. Okay, moving on. So after BDO, let's move on to MBT. Okay. So, MBT. Kay MBT, teka ha, silipin natin. Hindi ko pa nabibigyan ng ano to. Kay MBT, last August 7, wow, medyo malaki to. Second quarter earnings declined by 52% due to higher provision. Yeah, dahil etong big three, si MBT, si BDO, tsaka si BPI, they have the biggest loans, retail loans no sa market. This three compasses about 70, 68 something percent, 68 to 70% of the whole market share sa Philippines. So, kaya malaki ang effect sa kanila ng COVID. No? Let me just add that here. Doon sa mga bagong tune in pa lang, what I do usually is whenever I see a news, I add them dito sa Instagrams so that I can make a quick reference sa kanya in the future. Ayan, so ganyan lang. Click the text button here and then I add the date kung kailan ko nakita yung date na yun, kung kailan na-report yung news na yon, and then I just add it. Ayan, ganyan. So, ayan. And I save it. Okay? So, ayan. Ganyan na ako. So that mas madali for me to look for fundamentals and earnings. And any other news na meron. Okay? Ayan. Now, let's go to the technicals, no? Just like what happened to BDO, parang ganito rin nangyari kay MBT. As we can see, 3 times ng natatamaan yung support niya at 33 pesos. No? It came from a downtrend and now it's doing consolidation. Price range, I can see it at around 33 pesos up until 43. So that's about, I think, 30% also na, yeah, about almost 30% na upside, potential upside. Okay? Now, having said that, 33 pesos is the main support line kay MBT. I don't think aabot pa ulit ito ng ganito kababa ulit. Not unless ibalik tayo into ECQ. Well, wag naman sana. Okay? So at the moment, the stock is trading at around 35.95. No? Quite near dito sa MA50 line. At around, I would say, 37 pesos. So watch out for 37 pesos, baka harangan siya. Pero I think even harangan siya 37 pesos, the stock can still break that out, or at least I am expecting that the stock can break that out, and hopefully umabot siya ulit ng 43 pesos. No? And then at 43 pesos, ayun, we'll see kung mabibreak na ba niya yung main resistance niya at 43 or mauuntog ulit siya just like what happened here noong early June. Okay? So, ayan. Kung holder ako ni MBT, hopefully nakakuha ka sa medyo mababa. Otherwise, target is again 43 pesos. Cut loss is at around 33. Okay? 43 ang target and 33 ang cut loss. Okay? Kung nag-aabang ka kay MBT, then ako, I would just wait dito sa 35 pesos, 37 pesos. What I'd like to see is ma-break niya itong MA50 line na to at 37 pesos. And let's see kung gaano kalaki pa yung upside kung halimbawa ma-break siya. Still good at around 15%. Okay? So, ayan. Ayan, that's my take on MBT. Ayun, kung napapansin niyo, we have two banks, BDO and MBT, and then later on we'll have BPI. Siguro just to give you a comment on the financial sector. Generally, of course, all the stocks there are affected by COVID, no? But then the shining stars that I can see on the financial sectors are actually SECB and the EW, East West tsaka Security Bank. May Security Bank pa tayo dito, parang wala yata, no? Pero may East West. Ito meron, may SECB pala tayo. Okay. So yeah, later on I'll tell you why they are quite attractive for me, no? Etong dalawang stock na to, comparing them to MBT, BDO and BPI. Okay? So yeah, let's proceed muna. Next, Meralco. Okay. So with Meralco, as we know, core income half of the year down siya by maliit lang naman, about 14%, which is for me it's quite acceptable despite because of the pandemic. No, so 14% is relatively okay, kayang-kaya ni Meralco na habulin 'yan, no? The moment we transition back or the situation improves. Main reason is of course, as we have mentioned, COVID-19, lower demand for electricity. And isa sa malaking contribution kay Meralco in terms of its revenue are etong mga commercial establishments. So, mga malls, even yung mga buildings, real estates, office buildings, malls, groceries, well, basically almost everyone, no? Pero ang main contributor kasi talaga is malls. And as we know, since limited lang yung mall hours and konti lang din yung na-generate sa kanila, then obviously affected si Meralco. Not only even other power sectors are affected. So si AP and si FGen. Medyo si FGen nga down siya about 26% yata half year, and si AP naman 24%. So with MER at around 14%, that's still good. Okay. Now on the technical side, we can see here, no, the price is doing consolidation, and it's now trading at the range of 250 up until 293. 250 to 293. The stock currently positioned at 278.60 pesos. It is above the MA50 line and medyo malapit na siya sa MA200. Okay? But looking at this part, I think MA200 is about to be broken. At least I'm expecting that. Dahil may hawak akong MER. So, may bias ako ng konti sa kanya. But then again, kung mapapansin natin, medyo maganda naman yung volume. And marami pa rin ang may interest kay MER. Because, again, this is one of the more pronounced defensive stocks in the market dahil electric siya. And at the same time, it has one of the highest in terms of dividend yield. As we can see here, meron naman siyang dividend announcement, cash dividend of 4.60 for about 4 pesos, 4.70 per stock. X date is on sa Monday na pala ang X date. Ayan. So ayan, may dun sa mga may hawak ng MER, ayan, expect na you will have dividend by kailan ba? Date is September 15. Ayan. Going back to the technicals, kung holder kayo ni MER, ako at this point, I would say hold lang muna and see what will happen dito sa MA 200. And potentially, it could reach another 293. And hopefully, mabasag niya yan. Okay? In terms of cut loss naman, cut loss level, then medyo may consolidation ako nakikita dito sa part na to. Ayan. So, at around 267, 268. Especially kung conservative ka, 268 could be a potential cut loss. Pero kung malalim naman yung average price mo, then I think a cut loss of 250 is okay lang. Okay? Now, kung halimbawa nag-aabang ka pa ng MER, kung saan ka papasok, then MA 200. Pero kasi sobrang lapit na niya dito sa sa 293 kung mababasag. So, siguro what I would do instead kung nag-aabang ako, I'll watch MA 200, no? But at the same time, we'll give more focus dito sa 293. Okay? 293. Okay? Breakout play, basically. That's what I'm saying. Breakout play at 293. Yun yung magiging play ko sa kanya. Okay? So, yan. That's my take on MER. Next, WLCON. Okay. So, WLCON, isa to sa mga napag-usapan natin nung nakaraang week. And the reported net loss of WLCON is at around 64%. H1. Tama ba? Yeah. Half of the year loss for WLCON. Dahil about 80% ng kanyang stores dito sa Luzon area is closed during the first half of the year. And then later on lang, mga around June yata, doon pa lang siya gradually nag-open ng mga shops. And despite that, syempre, we can't expect na they'll have a lot of customers because of the pandemic scare. So, we can't say na it has recovered yet. I think with what's going on, baka umabot pa tayo hanggang Q4. No? So, dito naman medyo maganda ang pasok ni ano yung kalaban ni WLCON? Si ALLHC. Yan. ALLHC is quite, siguro kung i-compare ko WLCON versus ALLHC, I think mas attractive si ALLHC at this time fundamentally. Okay. So ayan. On the technical side of things naman, as we can see, consolidation phase itong si WLCON at this time. Price range at around 1469 up until 1670. Ito yung nakikita kong price range niya. The stock is currently trading at 1568. Ito yung last price. And as we can see here, MA50 line is doing quite a good job holding the stock. Kung mapapansin natin, before, ito yung napag-usapan natin, MA50 proves to be a really good resistance sa stock na to. But then, nung Thursday, nung na-break niya yung MA50, nag-close pa rin siya still above MA50. No? So, I hope na ma-retain niya tong status na to in the next coming weeks. If it does, then 1670 would be more realistic para sa kanya. Kung nag-aabang kayo kay WLCON, I think yeah, siguro Monday will be a good day to watch out if it still hold the 1560 na line or na support line, then I think that's a good good entry. Pero tingnan natin is it still worth the wait? Oh, sorry. Maliit na pala yung upside. So baka hindi na muna. Gaano kalaki itong part na to? Tingnan natin Ay, maliit lang din pala. So around 14% lang na upside. And the mere fact na nasa gitna na siya nung price range niya, though there's a potential na umangat pa rin ito, the upside para dun sa mga hindi pa nakakaposisyon, medyo maliit na. So with that in mind, might not be a good one at this time. Siguro ang magiging play ko na lang dito will be breakout, no? Etong part na to at 1670. Okay? Ngayon, kung holder ka naman ng WLCON, then ayun din, same thing, no? 1670 is a good target price. And cut loss, kung nasa taas ka, I would say kasi itong MA50 line pa rin at 1560. Yun yung magiging cut loss, no? Pero kung mababa naman yung average price mo, then I think you can afford to have 15 pesos na cut loss price. This one as cut loss. Okay? So, ayan. That's my take on WLCON. Next, DNL. Etong DNL, ito isa na nag-post ako nito noong, save ko muna to. Nag-post ako netong week lang ng DNL. Okay? Mababa yung half of the year niya na yung Q2 result niya mababa. Nakalimutan ko lang kung mas magkano na siya. But anyways, so ayun, medyo mababa Ang naging panghatak lang niya was its export. Dahil nag-export si DNL to other countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, and even Taiwan. Yung local segment ng DNL, yun yung humatak sa kanya pababa because of the pandemic. Okay? Now, as we can see here, etong resistance line continues to be a strong resistance para sa stock. It tries to break noong kailan ba to? Tuesday. Kaso wala nag-close pa rin siya at that line, and then afterwards dumire-diretso na siya pababa. So with this one, what I'll do is extend etong line na to dahil as I've mentioned, mukhang dito nagko-consolidate ang resistance line ng DNL. Okay? And ito tanggalin ko na to dahil I think nabasag na rin naman na siya. So wala na. Kung makikita natin, the stock is doing consolidation and is on the descending triangle pattern. Okay? So hopefully mabasag itong resistance line na to. If it does, then I think viable siya onto this target 617. Okay? Now, in terms of guidance, kung holder ka ni DNL, at this time, kasi nauntog na siya, di ba? If this is the case, siguro I would partially sell. Magbebenta na ako partially para at least kung may profit man ako, ma-realize ko na yung profit na yon. Siguro about 50% of my holdings I'll sell na For the simple reason na itong resistance line uh, is strong para dun sa stock. Okay? Now, kung halimbawa mababa naman yung average mo and you still wanted to play DNL, then okay, that's fine as well. No? Wala namang problema. Yun nga lang kasi ang akin lang is kung may profit ka na, bakit mo papakawalan? So kahit konti, uh, I would partially sell. Okay? Ngayon, kung halimbawa you are watching, nag-aabang ka pa lang kay DNL, then ayun, same guidance would apply. Etong line na to will be your cue for a potential breakout. Okay? So an ideal candle should look like this. Ayan. So kapag nagkaroon ng ganyan, then abangan mo na siya the next day. Dahil on the next day, kapag ito is umangat pa ulit siya, then that's already confirmation of a successful breakout. Okay? And then it's on the running to 617 na target price. Okay. So ayan, that's my take on DNL. Next is AGI. Save ko lang to ha. AGI naman, let's see. Okay. So AGI, meron ba ako makukuha dito na ano? Tingnan natin ha. I just use Twitter para mas madali. Dahil kung isa-isahin ko yung mga brokers ko, baka magtagal tayo. So, ayan no. As we can see here, AGI H1 profit hit 4.1 billion. Pero, ang gusto ko malaman is how is it compared? Wala. Q2 earnings wala, hindi niya binigay. Ito EMP blah. No, ayoko nang buksan. Yung ano, hindi lang talaga sige na nga, ako curious din ako kung gaano kalaki yung ano, yung difference niya from half of the year last year, no? Ito yung natin okay, AGI net profit 4.1 in the first half, 67% decline. So ayun, let me place that here. Kailan ba yun? 8.6, diba? Okay, so minus 67%. H1. Ayan. Okay. Ayan. Mostly, ito dahil sa MWIDE, Mega World, and, well, even McDonald's, since hawak nila ang ano. I think ang only subsidiary na okay dito kay AGI was ito nga, CEMP, no? Emperador, wherein despite a lot of liquor bans na nangyayari during the pandemic, they still managed to incur a positive half of the year revenue versus last year. So for me, that's impressive. Okay. In terms of technical, as we can see here, the stock is doing consolidation. I think AGI has been one of our most common, no, na weekly stock na nire-review. And I still recall the first time we did that. Siguro hindi mo first time, pero siguro I think our second week of doing the review of AGI, isa sa gusto kong mangyari sa stock na to is to consolidate at this level for a long time. When I say a long time, maybe 2 to 8 months. No? And now it's doing ilan na? From April, May, June, July, August. 4 months na siyang nasa range na to. So for me, that's good. That's good news dahil it gives a good consolidation, good foundation for a potential rally in the future. No? So ayan. Now in terms of the price range, we can see here na range of the of AGI is at around the 550 up until 770. No? Dito yung pinaka price range niya. And I think just last week, isa to sa napag-usapan natin, sabi ko mukhang maganda yung nilalaro niya dahil potentially ripe siya for a potential bounce. And ayun na nakapag-bounce na siya from its lower support. No? Right now, it's trading at around 587. Potential cut loss is, again, 550. No, para do sa mga may hawak ng AGI, so 550 ang cut loss and a potential target of around 770, so medyo malaki. That gives us at least itong buong to 40% upside, and at this time, no, we could see kung nakabili kayo nung Friday, still potential upside is at around 30%. However, medyo worried lang ako dito sa MA50 line na to. Okay? I'm worried because as we know, this could poise to be a strong resistance para sa stock. No? Now, if we will be waiting for a potential breakout, then let's see kung gaano kalaki pa ang pwede nating makuhang upside. About 17%, which is still, for me, it's still good, 17% upside. Okay? So, ayun, no, kung holder, target is 770. And kung nag-aabang ka, then wait for break dito sa MA50 line na ito. Or pagka umabot siya ng around, siguro mag-close siya ng 650. So, ayun. Okay? That's my take on AGI at this time. Ang gusto ko na talaga mangyari is may extend pa to dahil isa sa AGI sa potentially mag-benefit sa potential recovery ng stock. Okay. So, yeah, that's my take on AGI. Next is BPI. Wait lang kuha lang akong tubig. Medyo nasasabid na ako. Just a second. Ayan, okay, I'm back. So, BPI. With BPI, tingnan natin Revenue is down by 24%. So, ito yung sabi ko kanina, yung big three. BDO, BPI, and MBT. Okay. So, basically, pare-para sila ng kapalaran, itong tatlong to. Dahil malalaki yung mga retail loans na hawak nila. No? On the technical side naman, mukhang nabasag na yung support line na dinraw natin way back nung kailan ba to? Siguro 3-4 weeks ago. No? So that means I have to adjust. Tingnan natin Ayan. Okay. Now for me the new price range of BPI is at around 61 pesos hanggang 78. With a potential range size of close to 28%. Okay? Now, kung holder ka ng BPI, hopefully nakakuha ka sa medyo mababa na presyo. Then, wait up. And the target price is hopefully umabot sa 78 pesos. Yun nga lang, napansin ko, no, etong potential golden cross na mangyayari sa stock, maybe in the next 2 to 4 weeks, no, once na nag-meet na etong MA50 tsaka MA200, will be crucial. If you will be plotting that, then I think nandito siya, around 72 pesos. Okay? Tingnan natin kung gaano pa kalaki yung upside nito dito. Just around 8, almost 10%. Okay? So kung conservative, like for example ako, I consider myself as a conservative trader. Looking at this one, most likely given the upsides na nakikita ko sa stock, I'll just wait ko na lang yung breakout dito sa taas. Okay? So, ayan. I'll wait for the potential breakout and then see how it goes. Ngayon, kung holder naman ako ng BPI, then I'll just wait. Hintayin ko kung ano mangyayari sa kanya. Kasi maganda na nakapag-rebound na siya from 61 pesos. 'Di ba? So tingnan na lang natin kung ano mangyayari dito sa potential golden cross na mangyayari sa kanya. And then still the target is at around 78. Okay? So yan, that's my take on BPI. Let's check na ba ang comment box. Sabi ni Jen Yu, pahabol FNI. Sige. Medyo mahaba na yung listahan natin. Ay, meron ng FNI. Sabi ni Christian, BPI, APX, and Bloom. Meron lang BPI, may APX. Kakatapos na natin ng BPI. Hopefully, na-catch on mo siya, Christian. APX, wala pa. Pero nakalista na siya sa akin. Ayun, may APX na. May Bloom na ba? Wala pa yata. Ito, may Bloom na rin pala. Okay. Tapos, sabi ni Oliver, tapos na po ba yung dito? Hindi pa Oliver. So, medyo nasa baba pa siya. So, I think abot pa naman. But then, this time, medyo bibilisan ko na ha. Kasi gusto kong matapos natin lahat to. Meron pa bang mga sabi ni Don Enrico, you hear that MBT is the lowest ever by now. 43 ang TP, 33 ang CL, wait at 37 for MBT. Tingnan ko MBT 33 CL. Okay. So nilista mo lang yata akala ko there's something new. Okay, anyways, sige. Sabi ni Arnie APVI. Okay. Arnie APVI, I would stay away. Address ko na siya agad ngayon, stay away from APVI. So dagdag ko lang dito sa DMC and Cebu. Sabi nito Yix Tech. And sabi ni Fritz MM, may MM na tayo. RLC wala pa. Medyo humahaba na siya. Nililista ko na lang din para kung sakaling kayanin ng oras natin, mapag-usapan. Okay? So, ayan. Now, let's go back. Asa na tayo? This is, I think, BPI na, di ba? Medyo malayo pa pala. Bilisan natin. So, DD. Oh, my goodness. Meron na bang earnings tong si DD? Parang hindi ko pa siya napansin Ayun, meron na. Net income is up by 100%. Wow. Mukhang maganda. Meron bang ibang Okay. So mukhang siya lang, no? Pero ang taas na kung sakali. So basically, consolidated revenue up by 44.95 year on year. These are all positive, kung ako tatanungin mo. However, the stock is doing the opposite. Diba? The stock is going down. So, I'm not sure why. Kasi nabasag na ito. Solid itong 16 pesos na support niya before eh. So, I am not really sure why. If anyone knows, please let me know. I'm quite interested to know kung anong nangyayari dito sa stock. Okay? So, ayan. With this one, I will have to make an adjustment dahil nabasag na yung support line. Okay? New support from 16 pesos is now 15. No? And we can see na nag-bounce na siya nung Friday. On Monday, it will be a critical for DD. Kung halimbawa ang candle niya it will close above, then that's a good sign. That means ano na siya, nag-bounce na, no? So, yeah, watch for Monday. Ngayon, kung halimbawa for the holders kay DD, then most likely unless nakakuha kayo dito, most likely you are on a negative, no? So, kung ganun ang nangyayari, then siguro I'll just wait it out. Again, 15 pesos ang cut loss price, while target is medyo diskumpiyado ko kung kaya niya habulin nitong 21 pesos dahil medyo mataas na yan, ha. And etong MA50 and MA200 are about to meet. So, I think dito na lang ako mag-aabang. So, potential target price is at around 17.52. Same thing for those who are waiting. Actually, for the waiting, ayan, Monday will be critical. If ma-confirm yung bounce nito, then I think that's a good entry, no? So hopefully it will be a green or an up market for DD on Monday. Okay? Once again, cut loss is 15 pesos. Target is at around 17.50 or pwedeng umabot ng 20 pesos. Okay? So yan, that's my take on DD. Next, home. So kanina napag-usapan natin yung WLCON. Kay home naman, negative din naman tong si home, pero comparing home to WLCON, fundamentally mas gusto ko or at least mas attractive sa akin si home. Meron na ba? Ito. Medyo malaki din, ha. Down 97%. So, yeah, medyo malaki. I think that's the reason why nag-rally dito sa nagko-consolidate yung price niya malapit sa support line na 617. No? So, ayun. Although itong si Home naman, ang maganda sa kanya is that I think mas marami siyang open na stores compared kay WLCON. Percentage-wise, ha. WLCON still has a lot more stores compared to Home. Pero percentage-wise ng open na shops, mas marami na to si Home at this time. On the technical side naman, as we can see, it came from a downtrend. Now it's consolidating. I can see two potential Darvas boxes here, no? Ito yung nauna, and then nung na-break, this is the second one. Yan. By the way, kung napapansin niyo, I'm just using very basic support and resistance lines, or sometimes, or most of the time, I just follow Darvas box method. Okay. Now, having said that, I think it's quite attractive at this point. Yun nga lang, I'm quite worried, no? MA50 is at around 7 pesos na. Medyo maliit lang yung upside nun. Around 8%. No? So, unless kaya ninyong i-absorb yung potential losses or mauntog, then I think it's still attractive kasi ang target pa rin na nakikita ko sa kanya is at around 8 pesos. Okay? So, kung may hawak kayong home, then siguro watch out na lang dito sa 7 pesos na resistance, and then place a cut loss dito sa 6.17. Okay? Doon sa mga nag-aabang kay All Home, then siguro, yun nga, no? Kung kaya ninyo, then you can place an order. Pero kung hindi, then siguro 7 pesos. Breakout at 7 pesos ang pinaka-viable. And then target of 8. Okay? So, ayan. That's my take on home. Next is Bloom. Okay. So, etong si Bloom, Bloomberry Resorts, as we know, yung kanilang mga leisure industry, teka lang. Yan. Bloomberry Resort, casinos, ay close sa ngayon. So, basically, wala silang kita. As simple as that. However, sila kasi ang pinakamalaking casino business, casino company sa Philippines. So they are poised to benefit more pagdating sa recovery ng economy natin in the next few months or in the next quarter. No? Even si Cole has, I think medyo mataas yung kanyang TP, no? Kay Bloom, and very positive pa rin siya doon sa core business niya. Having said that, when we look at naman dito sa technicals, we can see na the stock is doing consolidation then, just like, well, most of the other stocks na available sa market. And right now, ayun nga, etong support line niya at 602 is quite strong, which is good. Strong na support line means na mas ripe siya sa potential bounce. No? And target is at around 724. Mukhang pati itong MA50 is joining that trend na rin. No? Negative bias pa rin for Bloom at this time dahil basically wala pa rin silang masyadong earnings. Hindi ko lang alam kung yung kanilang hotel sa may Jeju Island is still operational. I think so, pero most likely the earnings there is still down or still low. Okay? Kung may hawak kayong Bloom, hopefully nakakuha kayo sa baba. Then you can set cut loss at 602. And target price is 724. Pero kung nag-aabang naman kayo kay Bloom, then at this time, kahit na attractive itong nakikita kong consolidation na ito, dahil sa negative fundamentals niya at this time, I won't trade Bloom. Okay? I won't trade Bloom. Pero kung halimbawa ang inaabangan nyo siya for a potential long-term play, then yeah, Bloom will be one of those na I think would really benefit from the economic recovery. Okay? So ayan, that's my take on Bloom. Next up, APX. APX is quite interesting. Save ko lang to para at least meron akong ayan. So with APX mining, isa to sa mga golden stocks. So ayun, no, as we can see, ito yung nilapat natin na resistance line. I think we did this one last week. And isa to sa napag-usapan natin na sabi ko potentially mauuntog na to at 1.73, which it did. So after this three red candles, medyo nakaka-recover na ulit si APX. Okay? Now, the good thing is that yung presyo ng gold sa market is still high. It's close to 2,000. Yun nga lang, medyo nahihirapan siyang i-break yung $2,000 level. No? But if it does, then I think APX will have a really good may maganda siyang laban. Tingnan natin yung earnings niya, no? Uy, wow. Second quarter earnings up by 7,000%. Ooh, wow. Great. Malaki nga talaga yung neto, no? So this is more interesting dahil APX is already on an uptrend. Uptrend siya dahil kung mapasin natin MA200 and MA50, the price is already above that. Siguro ang pwede kong play na lang na gawin dito is kung holder ka, then just wait and abang sa 1.73 kung mauntog ulit or hindi na. Pero kung halimbawang nag-aabang pa lang kayo kay APX ng entry point, then 1.75. Adjust ko na nga to. 1.75 will be critical. So it must break the 1.75 line. Okay? Para at least magtuloy-tuloy yung stock. So breakout play for APX. Okay? So ayan, that's my take on APX. Metromart, naglabas na ng earnings report si Metromart and it says there na up siya by ilan nga ulit yun? Up by 35.18% first half. Okay? Remember, etong consolidation, etong revenue na to came from the same stores na meron sila prior to IPO, which is good. However, kung titingnan natin yung mga age nung 7 yata, di ba? 7 yung kanilang mga stores na open sa ngayon. I mean, yung na-open nila bago ang IPO, medyo bago lang din. So, I think half of those, I think 4 out of 7 were just less than 2 years old. So, that means medyo parang in line with the estimates. So, itong 35.18% na to, for me, it's not that attractive yet dahil as I've mentioned, sobrang bago pa lang nito ni Merrimart, both on the company side and at the same time sa market. Okay? But having said that, what I like about Merrimart is ito nga, yung kanyang magandang rebound. Halos dire-diretso na siya doon sa taas. Yun nga lang, nung nilagay natin itong resistance line na 314, it appears na mukhang solid itong resistance line na to. Okay? And potentially ang magiging neto is baka mauntog lang siya ulit dito and it starts to go down again. Just like what happened to the others. Okay? So kung may hawak akong Merrimart, siguro I will watch out for 314. Baka this week we will see a more clarity kung saan talaga pupunta yung stock na to. Pag nabasag itong 314, then that's the ideal scenario. And hopefully it could go back to its all highs ng 450. Okay? Ngayon, kung papasok ka pa lang kay then same thing. 314, wait for the breakout. In case mauntog, then hintayin mo na siya sa DOS. Okay? So, yan. That's my take on Merrimart. Next is URC. Ganito na lang gawin natin para mas mabilis, ha. Pagdating sa fundamentals, I'll just mention kung ano yung nagsa-stand out. but predominantly I'll be discussing yung technicals niya. Okay? URC na pag-usapan natin siya before, wala masyadong happening dito kay URC. However, kung mapapansin natin, no, itong stock is almost malapit na sa resistance niya at 148. Naglagay ako rito before, akala ko matutuloy itong head and shoulders na to, but apparently it didn't. So I'll remove that na lang dahil hindi na siya valid. Okay? So, ayun, kung may hawak kayong URC, then just wait out. Hintayin na lang ang 148 pesos. Kung ano mangyayari sa kanya, mauntog o mag-breakout. Kung nag-aabang kayo kay URC, same thing. Abang sa 148 pag nag-breakout. Pero kung mauntog, the next is 135. Okay? So, ayan. That's for URC. Next up is TEL. TEL is quite interesting in terms of technicals. Sa kanyang fundamentals, hindi gaano. As we can see here, Q2 is down by 17%. Okay? And, ayan. So, ayun, no? Ito yung nilagay din natin. Ito yung isa sa pag-usapan natin noong nakaraan kay TEL. I thought na mag-double top siya. Well, it did, double top. And double top pattern is considered as a reversal. So, nag-reverse yung stock, no, pababa dahil it's going up. No? Price range is at 1.3 hanggang 1.430. Ay maliit lang. Ang liit lang nung upside. So, not a good one for me. But then again, dun sa mga may hawak ng TEL, then at this time, I hope nakapag-benta na kayo or partially sell. Kung hindi kayo nakapag-partially sell, I think on Monday, tingnan natin yung bid-ask ha. Okay, medyo marami ang buyers niya on Monday. Pero I would be firm on this one, no? Kung ako may hawak ng TEL, maganda kung mag-up siya dito, mag-green siya. If it does, doon ako mag-partial sell. Partial lang para at least you still have a skin in the game kung sakaling mag-breakout. Ngayon, kung halimbawa nag-aabang ka naman ng TEL, then wala, you have no other choice but to wait for the breakout. Or kung bumaba pa siya sa 1.3. Yun lang yung two options mo. Okay? Next, BRN. Hindi ko kilala si BRN, so first time ko siyang check. Brown Company. It's quite good, ha? Sino ba si BRN? Real Estate Development Power and Mining. Sorry, hindi ko siya kilala. So that means technicals na lang. Pagdating sa technicals, medyo mababa kasi yung volume ng BRN. So, and for me, I don't usually trade mga mababang volume. Dahil susceptible sila sa jockey play or sa bentahan. And I can't risk that. That's for me. However, kung gusto mo pa rin siyang i-trade, then medyo malapit na siya sa resistance line niya, no? So kung holder ka ng BRN, then I think it will be at around 88 cents. Nandoon yung target price. Pero kung nag-aabang ka lang kay BRN, then wait for the breakout. Okay? Next, ALLHC. Ito rin, another stock na hindi ko kilala. Yung sa logistics. Ito ba sa FINMA? Hindi. ACEX pala yata yun. Okay. So, with ALLHC, wala ko masyado nababalitaan dito. So, I'll just go to the technicals na lang, no? It appears na etong MA50 is doing a really good job supporting the stock. Kung napansin niyo nung Thursday, no, dito siya actually nag-bounce. And then there's a confirmation on Friday. Okay? However, medyo malapit na rin siya sa ano niya, sa resistance niya dito. So, I think upside will not be, yeah, just right under 10%. So, for me, it's not an attractive stock anymore. Kung halimbawang holder ka ni ALLHC, then ito, 1.87 or 2 pesos even. Pwede yung maging target price. And then, cut loss is at 170. Kung nag-aabang ka kay ALLHC, again, same thing, breakout. Yun lang yung nakikita kong play sa kanya. Okay? Next up, AXLM. AXLM is quite good, ha? At least last week. Kasi napag-usapan natin siya. Ayan. So, ano earnings na ito? Minus 48% on Q2. Yeah, well, that's quite common. So, I think okay lang. Kasi annual earnings naman niya is 100% eh. Diba? So, I think that's fair. That's okay. In terms of technical, ito yung sinasabi ko, no? Mukhang itong 2.45 is still considered as a powerful resistance para sa stock. And nakikita natin yung pagko-consolidate nung mga presyo dito sa bandang ito. Yung this week will be critical dahil yun yung magdidictate kung aangat pa siya, kung mababasag ba niya yung 245 or didiretso siya ulit pababa. Kung may hawak kayong AXLM, then yun yung magiging ano ko. Siguro at this stage, yung Monday, kapag nag-green na ito on Monday, ano ko lang din, just for security purposes, magpa-partial sell na muna ako. Kahit mga 30%, 30 to 50% para may profit na. Okay? And then, kung dun sa mga wala pang hawak, same thing. Breakout play. Yun lang yung nakikita akong option dito. Or pwede siyang hintayin na pag bumaba pa. Okay. Next. PXP. Oh, okay. This is quite interesting for PXP, no? Kasi nung nabasag itong support line niya at 590, nakabalik siya agad sa taas. And yung stock, the stock has respected itong MA50 line. Having said that, I have to make an adjustment dito. Ayan. Okay. Now, ano nga pwede natin gawin dito? Kung halimbawa holder ka ng PXP, then I think etong MA50 line na to will be critical, no? Kasi now it's at around 5.85. So, potential cut loss 585. And then target is dito nasa around 710. Kung nasaan itong MA200. Okay? Kung halimbawa naman nag-aabang ka pa lang ng entry point, then I think the candle on Monday will confirm kung mag-bounce nga ba siya sa MA50 or hindi. If it does, then I think that is a good buy signal already. If hindi, then and bumaba pa siya lalo, then wala. 530 ang aabangan. So, yan. That's my take on PXP. Next up, JFC. Ang mahiwagang bubuyog. So, ayun. To be honest, fundamentally, it's not looking good for me for JFC. As we know, magsasara sila ng 255 na company-owned stores. Unless merong gustong mag-franchise nun from them, then that's the only time. Pero at this pandemic, baka hindi siya ganong patusin. No? On the technical side naman, we can see na the stock is doing a range from 120 hanggang 150. And itong 150 na to, I don't see this one being broken anytime soon. no? The stock is currently at 144.50, and at least my expectation is that Monday or Tuesday baka bumaba ulit siya. Okay? Pero again, that's just an expectation. I could be wrong, which I am a lot of times, no? So, ayun, kung may hawak kayong JFC, then watch out for 150 or yung candles ng Monday to Tuesday siguro. Doon makikita kung aabot ba siya or hindi. Or kung mauntog ba siya or hindi. Okay? Cut loss, 135. Kung nag-aabang ka naman kay JFC, wala. Ako, I would just wait for the breakout. Kahit na mag 135 pa yan, because of the negative market sentiment, baka I would say no muna up until pa-break itong 150. Okay? So, ayan, that's my take on JFC. Next up, SECB. Ito si SECB. Ito yung sinabi ko kanina, medyo na interesting for me. Simply because despite the pandemic, positive yung kanilang earnings for the first half of the year. Okay? Now, on the technical side naman, makikita natin, no, the stock is doing consolidation from 77 up until 114. Medyo malaki yung range, but we can see a potential ascending triangle forming here. So, hopefully, mabasag na itong 100 peso resistance line. If it does, next target is 115. Okay? If holder ka ng SECB, then ayun, watch for the 100 pesos dahil I think at least my expectation is mababasag siya by this week. No? Pero kung hindi, again, watch out na lang. Siguro kung mababa naman yung presyo mo, then partial sell here para you still have skin in the game. Kung nag-aabang ka naman kay SECB, then 100. Breakout from 100. Okay? So, yun lang nakikita kong play dito kay SECB. Dahil dyan, sasama ko na rin si East-West. Dahil alam ko napag-usapan natin si East-West. Then, at least nasa linyahan natin si East-West, diba? Singit ko lang siya, ha? Yan. Kasi silang dalawa yung, for me, are really good fundamentally this pandemic. Kay East-West naman, Q2 earnings up by 56%. Diba? So, silang dalawa lang nakikita ko sa financial sector na maganda ang laruan. Maganda ang fundamentals. No? For this one, range is 7 pesos up until 7.90. And medyo malapit na yung stock doon. So, kung may hawak kayong East-West, wait na. In the next 2 days, we'll see kung mababasag itong 790. If hindi, then might as well partially selling. Kung nag-aabang, same thing. 790 pag na-break yon, siguro I would go up until 8 pesos for this one na breakout. Ngayon, kung halimbawa mauntog siya, then ayun, alam nyo na, antay na lang at around 7 pesos. Okay? Next. Now. Okay, now. Yan. Meron na ba si Now na ano? Hindi ko pa napapansin itong Now eh. Parang wala pa yata. Anyways, technicals na lang muna tayo, no? So, with Now, after a successful head and shoulder pattern, cup and handle pattern, way back in April and May, it is now trading at this, baba ko na siya, yan. It is now trading at the range of 192 hanggang 268, which is a really good range for the stock, no? And makita natin itong MA50 is doing a support na dahil kakabasag lang sa kanya nung Thursday. Okay? Although medyo tight siya ha, looking at the MA 200 line. Tight siya in a sense na potentially either squeeze in niya yung presyo, mag-consolidate pa and harangan niya ng husto, hindi na makalampas ng 215 yung presyo nitong now, or maka-breakout itong sinaw, which is the ideal candle or at least the ideal scenario for the stock. Okay? If you are a now holder at this time, then ayun, etong part na to, 215. Ayan. For me, that is a critical potential resistance for the stock. And kung halimbawa nag-aabang kayo kay now, same thing, 215. Or just wait kung kailan magkakaroon ng golden cross kay now. And then potential target is 268. Okay? So, ayan. That's my take on now. Next up is, wow, mahaba pa siya. HLCM. Si HLCM at saka si CHP. Actually, silang dalawa. I am seeing na medyo nagbabounce sila from their all-time lows. No? Pero fundamentally, they are still not a good candidate for me. Simply because wala pa rin eh. Most of their projects have been delayed up until 2021 and 2022, especially kay HLCM. No? So, hindi ganun kaganda. Potentially, it will be a flat year for HLCM. That is on ano pa ha? A very positive na sentiment. Alam naman natin na negative sentiment ang infrastructure sector today, then baka hindi umabot doon. Technically, kung mapapansin natin, no, the range for HLCM, I can see it at around 450 hanggang 760. Medyo malaki lang siya. Pero that's fine. Nakita natin na medyo nabasag na niya itong 5 peso na previously a resistance line. So, I would wait on Monday kung kaya pa rin niyang i-sustain etong price na to. Okay? Gaano kalaki yung next niya? Around 14%. Well, not bad. Okay pa yun. Lalo na kung halimbawang ito yung kukunin natin, di ba? Which is still around 50%. So, that's good. Kung may hawak kang HLCM, then wait for 580 na potential resistance. And then, kung nag-aabang ka kay HLCM, then Monday will be critical. Kung halimbawang ma-sustain lang niya itong 5 peso, then I think that's a good entry point na. Or kung mas conservative ka, then 580 breakout. Okay? Kasi at this time, I can still see it as although it's still on a downtrend basically. So, wala. Ganun talaga. Same thing with CHP ha. Sama ko na si CHP dito. Ayan. Although mas maganda ang itsura ng teka lang lagay ko si CHP. Salang ko siya dito since pinag-uusapan natin siya. Okay. So ayun, with CHP, ito yung sinabi ko before na pag nabasag to, pwedeng magdire-diretso, and ayun na ngayon nangyari. Nung nabasag itong MA50 line at 1 peso, 103, halos dire-diretso na yung pag-akit niya. Okay? Medyo malapit na siya dun sa resistance niya at 2.25, 2.28. So, abang na doon. Okay? Especially kung may hawak ang CHP, then abangan mo na siya. Baka potentially mauntog to. And I think mauntog siya. That's my expectation. Kung nag-aabang naman at the current price, wala. Ano lang ang abangan natin dito? Breakout from 128. Okay? So, ayan. IDC. Another real estate stock. Okay. May earnings report na ba siya? Ito, meron na rin pala. I'm quite surprised na positive yung net income niya, ha, which is good, especially for a real estate na talagang tinatamaan ngayon. This is good. Technical side, we can see na yung range is at 153 hanggang 239. And unfortunately, itong MA50, kung napansin niyo, no, siya yung talagang nakaharang dun sa stock. Hindi niya pinapalusot. So, it will be critical na mabasag itong MA50 line na to at 1.92. 1.90, 1.92. Pag nabasag yan, then I think mas malakas na yung laban niya going into 240, which is about 2 or 23% upside. Okay? So, ayan. IDC, let's talk about dito. Dito is medyo nakabawi na si dito, no? Ito nga. Meron na ba siyang earnings report? Okay, that's good, Positive 152% from the previous year. This is a good earning report for dito. However, tingnan natin yung ano. Ayan. Okay. Medyo nakabawi siya. Yun nga lang yung year 2019 annual niya, medyo mababa, which is for me it's expected. It's expected. Dahil malaki yung kailangan niyang ilabas na pera and capital this year. Okay. Now, on the technical side naman, nakita natin na nabasag niya yung pennant na pattern dito after it broke out noong Monday. And now, etong 2.97, actually, kaya na ba natin iangat to? I think 3 pesos. Yeah. At 3 pesos, mukhang dito na siya ulit nagko-consolidate ngayon. Okay? So, very important na ma-hold ng dito ang 3 peso support line. Otherwise, pwedeng bumaba ulit itong stock na to. Okay? The good thing is that, kung mapapansin natin, nagkaroon ng golden cross dito. This gives the stock more positive sentiment, I would say, or more momentum, no? Given its pattern. So, quite bullish siya for me. Okay? Despite the fact na hindi ko talaga gusto si dito. Pero I can't ignore the fact na technically, it's looking good. Okay? So, ayan, kung may hawak kayong dito, then I think critical ang itong 3 peso na support line, which will be your cut loss point. And then target is around 385. That's around 30% upside. 25%. Diba? So, which is good. Kung nag-aabang kayo kay dito, then I think it's still okay pa to enter dahil na-maintain pa niya yung 3 peso na na support line. No? Yun lang talaga, again, as I mentioned, wag lang siya mababagsak below 3 pesos. Otherwise, hindi na maganda yun. Okay? So, ayan, that's my take on dito. Next up, ACEX. Okay. Etong si ACEX. Sino si Ace Enexor? Hindi ko siya kilala. Is this one of Ali's or Ayala's subsidiary? Hindi ko lang alam. But anyways, sige, let's talk technicals na lang. I don't think we can afford looking it up fundamentally, no? On this one, I can see na the stock is doing consolidation. I would say that the range is at around 463 hanggang 778. And nasa gitna siya, which is still below the MA50 line and MA200. So, I think it's still on the negative bias for me para kay ACEX. No? And potentially, it could go down to 460. Kung holder kayo ni ACEX, then for me, again, it's not looking good technically. So I would cut loss, or I would sell it or partial sell kung gusto nyo pa rin siya. And then kung nag-aabang kayo kay ACEX, then I'll just wait sa 460 or even sa 5 pesos. I think yeah, even 5 pesos is viable na support line for ACEX, no? Yan. Let me save this one for future reference. Next is LC. This is another mining stock, involved gold, nickel, and nakalimutan ko yung isa. Tatlo yung main niya eh. Lepanto Consolidated Mining. Ayan. So, as we can see here, no, nung nag-break yung 1365, yeah, 1365, yun na rin yung naging ano niya, support line niya, kung mapansin nyo rito. So, right now, it has already confirmed the bounce from 1365. No? So, kung may hawak kang LC, then this is a good sign already. Yeah. Hanggat hindi pa nababasag to, I would say na this is still a triangle. Okay? So, kung may hawak kayong LC, siguro, yeah, I'll place my cut loss at 1365. And then, target is at around 1601. Medyo malaki yun, ha? Ay, hindi rin pala. Around 12%. So, yeah. And then, kung nag-aabang kayo kay LC, then, siguro kung 12% lang yung difference, might as well wait for the breakout na lang. Para mabigyan ka ng mas magandang confidence onto the stock. Okay. Yun lang yung masasabi ko sa kanya kasi I'm not really following LC or any mining stock maliban na lang sa FNI at saka sa nickel na medyo for me quite bullish. Okay? So, ayan. CHP. Ito. Tapos natin CHP, GTCAP. Okay. So, with GTCAP, no, as we can see, 360 at 531 yung kanyang price range. No? However, the stock right now is not looking good simply because it's still way below its MA50 and 435 na initial pa lang na resistance. This tells me na potentially baka bumalik pa siya sa 360. So, parang nangyayari sa kanya is, kung mapansin niyo, no, parang pag nag-aantay lang siya ng peak and then it will go down. And this one going down. So most likely ganito mangyayari sa kanya. No, pag maglalaro lang siya on that, parang gradual na pagtaas. However, the stock is still on the negative bias kasi. So, that's why medyo hesitant ako to trade this GTCAP. Pero kung may hawak na kayong GTCAP, ano ba? To be honest, I would say I would have already cut it na eh. Kasi it's on a downtrend and negative bias. So, kumbaga na double whammy siya. So, for me, kung ako may hawak pa akong GTCAP, then most likely on Monday, I would cut it. Pero kung nag-aabang kayo kay GTCAP, then okay, 360 is, I think, is viable. No? Especially kung mababasag yung 400. Okay? So yan, that's my take on GTCAP. Tanggalin ko lang to para hindi nakakalito. Next up, MWIDE. Si MWIDE, ito yung nagbigay ng dividend, di ba? Tama ba? Okay. Anyways, so with MWIDE, for me it's on a negative bias. Consolidation phase siya. Yes, from 462 hanggang 8 pesos, no? Pero yun nga lang, kung mapapansin natin nagti-triple top na siya. And triple top is a reversal pattern. So that means potentially baka bumaba pa siya. And it could potentially reach again 462 kung mamalasin. Okay, earnings niya minus 38%. Q1 pa lang pala to. Asan yung ano? Wala pa yung Q2. Anyways. So, ayan. Kung may hawak kayong MWIDE, pag-isipan nyo na kasi kung ako to, I will cut it and mag-aabang na lang ako ng bottom or maghanap na ako ng iba pang stock na pwedeng paglaruan. Okay? Pero kung gusto niyo pa rin siyang hawakan, okay lang. Then, ayun nga. Entry point will be a breakout. Yun yung nakikita kong ideal for MWIDE. Pero I don't expect it to happen in the next 1 to 2 weeks. I hope I'm wrong, pero yun lang yung nakikita kong ano. At least that's my expectation. Okay. Next, AREIT. Ito. Medyo, ano to, hot seat itong si AREIT. Sino sa inyo yung merong hawak or nakabili sa IPO kay AREIT? Ako, I did. And hawak ko pa rin siya. And nakapagdagdag pa ako kay AREIT. Okay? Especially AREIT na naka-call. Ayan, para mas masaya. While waiting for that, let's see. Sabi ni Will, new president for dito, meron ba bearing sa price? I don't think so. Kasi at least yung nababalitaan ko is that si Eric kasi, yung bagong president nila, was actually parang sort of acquired from PLDT, no? Talagang pinursu siya ni Dennis Uy. And kinuha siya as director for the meantime. But then the intention is for him to actually lead dito CME. So I don't think na meron siyang bearing at this time. Sentiment wise, it's a good move for Dennis. He stays at the chairman position and then let an experienced telco person run the company. So that's a good one. Okay. So ayun, sabi ni Maureen, si AREIT. Okay. The good news is that starting on Monday, tradable na si AREIT kay call. That's the good news. What happened there was, kung napansin niyo yung no ACD na issue, that was the main cause. No, mukhang etong si call ay hindi niya na i-prepare ng maayos yung documentation, and dahil doon nagka-leche-leche na. I'd like to discuss kung ano nangyari specifics, kaso given the time right now, baka hindi na muna. Next time na lang. Pero yeah, what I would expect on Monday, medyo to be honest, hindi ko siya matansya. Kasi Monday, pagpasok ng COL, trades ng COL, baka dyan siya magiging sobrang volatile. And that can dictate kung ano yung mga kung saan magko-flatten or kung saan magko-consolidate yung presyo ni AREIT in the next couple of days. Okay? But then again, guys, AREIT is not a common stock. well, yeah, it's technically it's called common stock or common shares, pero it's not really, it should not be traded as a common or a stock similar to other stocks na for short-term trading. AREIT is technically a long-term investment vehicle or long-term investment instrument. So, medyo na-weirdoan lang ako kung bakit pili siyang tinitrade ng ibang tao. Eh, dapat, well, anyways, ayoko nang i-contest pa yon. Kumbaga, kanya-kanyang strategy yan. But for me, um, nung bumaba yung presyo niya, I'm quite happy dahil that means I can buy AREIT at a lower cost. Diba? And ang habol ko kasi kay AREIT is basically its dividend. So, isa to sa mga magiging long-term long-term stock ko. Okay? So, ayan, sino pa? Sabi ni Joan, siya rin daw meron. AREIT IPO pa. So, ayan. Well, it's up to you guys. Ako, I'm just airing my side na AREIT is for dividend purposes. So, my strategy there is to use it or to hold it for a long time. How long? As I mentioned, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Ayan. Next, I don't think matapos natin lahat, pero let's try. Kung ilan lang yung kayang gawin, ha? Next up. Ayun. Ay, tapos natin si Mary Mart, diba? Yeah, tapos na natin si Mary Mart. I think. Hindi pa ba? Yeah, I think tapos na natin to. SEC. SEC is not looking good in terms of fundamentals and kung ano mangyayari sa kanya dahil starting on Monday, delisted na, hindi man delisted, sorry. I should not use the term delisted. Si SEC ay mawawala na sa index. Papalitan siya ni EMP. Okay? And that's the reason why you are seeing a negative bias downtrend itong si SEC. Okay? Now, does SEC still have gas in may ibubuga pa ba tong si SEC? I would say yes, meron pa. But not on the near term. Okay? Sobrang affected yung operation nila for coal and mababa din yung presyohan ng coal. So, hindi siya ganun ka-attractive at this time. Technical wise, kung mapapansin niyo dito, the stock is ranging at the moment 861 hanggang 1098. No? And mukhang papalapit na naman siya. I think on Monday baka mabasag. I think on Monday mababasag na yung 9. Pero the next couple of days it will recover. At least that's what my guts tells me na potentially will happen. No, so kung gusto mong tsumupit kay SEC, then ayun, watch out for Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday. Dahil malapit na siya sa sa support level. Kung may hawak kayong SEC, most likely negative kayo. So yeah, same guidance. And kung nag-aabang kayo, ayun nga, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be critical. Kasi everyone already expects na mawawala na si SEC. So, the negative bias has already parang fulfilled. Natapos na siya. So, ayan. That's my take on SEC. Next is PX. With PX, ito yung paglaruan natin ng scenario, what if scenario natin last week, no? Just like what we did with GTCAP kanina. So, ayun. First half earnings is really good. And gold is doing really well. So, all positive for PX. However, the thing here with PX is that kung napapansin natin, no, medyo sobrang volatile nung presyohan niya. Volatile in a sense na kung mapapansin natin, dito may consolidation na break. It tried to break out and then nahulog. Ang lalim na ito from its 363 naging biglang 320. Almost 20% or 20% down siya. And then now it's going up again. So quite volatile si PX. This is not recommended for newbies na hindi kaya makipagsabayan. This is ideal for the day traders. Okay? So siguro I would wait for it to normalize. Normalize in a sense na yung ganito, sige. What if ulit tayo ha. So normalizing here. Yung merong mga small consolidation and then it will break out. No? Yun yung sinasabi kong nagno-normalize. Kasi with this one, masyadong volatile. So, especially kung you're not a full-time trader, masusunugan ka with BX. Okay? But given that, all things for me are positive for PX. We can see na merong golden cross na na-develop dito just this week. Okay? Earnings are up. And tingnan natin yung bid and ask. Normal lang yung bid and ask. But then the volume is also up. Diba? So, that tells me na medyo bright ang future ni PX. Especially kung tumaas pa yung gold. Okay? Next. Ali. Dito sumasabay si AREIT or at least at the moment dahil marami pang questions kay AREIT at this time since bago pa lang siya. So, kumukuha siya ng sentiment kay Ali. And Ali at this time is medyo not looking good. Malaking harang itong MA50 line sa kanya at around 34 pesos. It's now serving as its major resistance. Okay? So, kung may hawak kang Ali, then siguro nasa baba no? Usually, I would have already cut it kung tinitrade ko to si Ali. Pero, I still think that Ali has the capacity to rebound well. No? So siguro for this one, I would just wait. Tingnan ko kung ano mga potentially na pwedeng mangyari sa kanya. Kung nag-aabang kayo kay Ali, then either wait sa baba dito sa 28 or 30 pesos or wait for the breakout sa 34 pesos. Okay? So, ayan. Yeah, that's my take on Ali. Medyo binibilisan ko lang guys ha. May nakikita akong mga comment pero tatry kong mamaya silang sagutin ha para lang ma-try nating habulin yung mga stock. NIKL. NIKL is, as I've mentioned, just like FNI, both are very attractive stock for me. Simply because of the high demand of nickel ore sa global market and yung price niya is still going up. Right now, I think global price niya is nasa around $14,000 if I'm not mistaken. So, ayun. And Nickel Asia is the biggest nickel producing company, mining company here in the Philippines. So, they are basically poised to benefit more dito sa higher demand of nickel sa global market. On the global side naman, on the technical side naman, masyado na siyang dikit or masyado na siyang malapit sa resistance. So, kung may hawak ang nickel, then wait dahil potentially mauntog to. Tingin ko ganito ang mangyari sa kanya. It could form a cup and handle. Ito yung potential, yung nakikita ko sa kanya na mangyayari. Okay? So, kung may hawak kayo, just wait for 346 or 345. And then, pagka nakita ninyo na umatras na siya dyan, nauntog, then partially sell. Okay? Ngayon, kung nag-aabang ka naman, then same thing. 345, pag naman nag-breakout, then that's the time that you would, that is a good entry. Okay? So, yan. That's my take on nickel. Sige. CNPF is one of the stocks na very attractive for me because of its exposure sa food. Saan na yan? Okay. So, half of the year, it's up 31%. And now, in terms of technicals, makikita natin na-break na niya itong 16 pesos. And it's now consolidating at that level. So, cut loss, 16 pesos. Target is, how valid is the 1652? Ay, medyo malakas tong 1652 ah. So, watch out for this one. Pero pag na-break niya yan, 1774 would be the next. Okay? So again, cut loss 16 pesos, target is 1774, provided mabasag niya itong 1652. Okay, next. East-West na pag-usapan na natin kanina. FNI na pag-usapan natin briefly, kasabay ni NIKL. Pero ayun, no, ito. Mukhang valid pa rin itong range natin, no? Itong, ano man tawag dito? Uptrend channel. Uptrend channel. And right now, the stock is at 1 peso 13 cents, which is way above the 108 or 110 na resistance niya before. So, the stock is still quite good. Kung may hawak kayong FNI, then wait kung anong mga potential na mangyayari sa kanya. Cut loss is at 108. Target, I would go as high as 131. Nasaan na yun? Horizontal. Ayan. 130, 131 ang target. Although, ingat lang tayo dito sa MA200. Baka harangan niya yan. Okay? So, ayan. That's my take on, ayan, kung gusto nyo mag-abang, siguro, just to be conservative, wait for MA200 to develop or to break. So, ayun lang. Pero, the stock is looking good pagdating dito sa uptrend channel na to. Next is MEG. MEG, fundamentally is down. Pero nakakita tayo dito kasi ng descending triangle. So, to be honest sa akin, medyo alanganin ako dito. I had MEG and just this week I sold it. Dahil for me the upside is not good anymore. At least on the near term. Fundamental long term, MEG is still a good stock. Pero on the near term, since yun yung strategy ko sa kanya or yun yung play ko sa kanya, hindi ko siya nakitaan ng magandang upside, so I had to sell it. I think break even lang ako sa kanya nung naibenta ko siya. Okay? So kung may hawak kayong MEG, place your cut loss at 288 and target is at 315. Etong MA50. Okay? So kung nag-aabang kayo kay MEG, just wait for the breakout dito. So, potentially 315. It's 10:05, pero sige, I think apat na lang naman. Let's continue this one para maano natin siya, no? DMC, ito nga. Isa to sa mga napag-usapan natin before, range of 330 hanggang 477. Okay? Right now, the stock is doing a really good rebound. No? However, itong MA50 is, I can still see this as a strong resistance sa stock. Okay? Now, potentially 4 pesos is yung pinaka-resistance line niya. No? Medyo malapit na siya. So, watch out para sa mga holders. Kung nag-aabang kayo, then again, ayun nga, 4 pesos. Breakout from 4 pesos or kasi medyo maliit na lang yung yung upside nito. Ay, 20% pa. So not bad. Pwede pa. Yan. And then itong row lines na to, ito yung expectation ko na gagawin niyang presyuhan. Okay? So yan, that's my take on DMC. SEB. SEB, okay. So with SEB, I can see SEB to isa siya sa mga potentially magre-recover or mag-benefit sa recovery ng economy. However, I don't see SEB going back to its normal operation up until Q2 or first half of next year. That means yung potential earnings niya is also affected. So at this time, unless you wanted to trade SEB, I would stay away from it from the moment. Okay? Kung may hawak kayong SEB, then I think SEB is rebounding quite well sa 35 pesos. Pero etong MA50 is blocking it. So at 41 pesos, baka mauntog ulit siya. So watch out, potential partial sell na at that level. Pag nabasag naman yan, then 54 is looking good. Okay. Next, si Tech. With Tech, maganda yung earnings ni Tech nung nakaraan, di ba? Pero for some reason, hindi siya kinakagat ng mga investors. Hindi ko alam kung bakit. Pero baka dahil sa low volume itong klaseng stock na to. Okay? However, kung mapapansin natin, no, the stock is now below the support line na naman. Medyo may pagka-volatile yung Tech at this time. That means I'll have to adjust my support line, save it, ayan. Where do I see it? It's still on a negative bias at the moment, so I won't even enter this to my watch list. Okay, so ayun, kung may hawak kayong Tech, then I would seriously consider cutting it or selling it. Kung nag-aabang kayo kay Tech, then 507. That will be itong 507 line na to. Pwedeng catch basin for Tech. But then again, guys, the stock is still on a downtrend, ha. So keep that in mind. And then last but not least, RLC, another real estate. Yun nga, nabasag na itong triangle niya dito. So it's now consolidating at this level. I think bubuuin ko na siya, no? Kasi ganoon na rin naman eh. Ayan. So, nandito, no? With RLC, nasa gitna kasi siya ng range eh. And it's still on a downtrend, so I am not really convinced about RLC. I won't even add it to my watch list. Siguro ang aabangan ko na lang dito will be etong MA50 line at around 17 pesos. No, na break kasi at this stage, kahit na nakikita natin na medyo nagrarally siya, nagkakaroon siya ng konting rally dito, no? Starting this week starting last week. The negative sentiment still outweighs its benefit or its potential benefit basically. So I would skip RLC for the meantime. Okay? So yan, that's my take on all of those on our list today. Sorry kung hindi ko ma-add yung iba. Pero let's try to catch on sa comment section. Tingnan natin kung may mga nakuha tayo. Sabi ni Jenyu, nababwisit siya sa kay call. I think this is because of the AREIT. So, on Monday, at least you will now be able to trade AREIT if you want to. Tapos na ba FNI? Yep. Yeah, I think na kuha mo siya. The lower the price you pay, the higher the dividend yield. Yes, that's true. That's true. However, pero ito lang don't always look at the price, especially for dividend paying stocks. Okay? Ang laban dito is hindi not always the price, but your volume. Ibig ko sabihin, for example, nakuha mo nga siya ng let's say dividend yield mo is let's say 20%. Oh, yeah, mataas 'yun ha. So sobrang skyrocket ng 20%. Pero ang volume mo lang naman is 100 shares. So wala rin. 'Di ba? That's why for me, for dividends, volume ang labanan. And that's why this is what I usually do. By the way, I'm using still PCA, peso cost averaging. And I still use that to my long-term dividend port. So every month, nag-a-add ako ng nag-iiba-iba from 3,000 to 5,000. Iba pa yon doon sa trading port ko. Okay, so 3 to 5,000 per month I add doon sa long-term high dividend port ko para lang bumili. Dahil again, what I'm trying to get there is the volume. Okay, so ayun, that's just my my strategy. FGen. Jim, sorry, hindi ko na cover yung FGen. DNL, Emer, tapos ko na yung DNL. So, on the recording, ano ko siya, doon mo siya abangan. Ilalagay ko yung timestamp. So, kung halimbawa, hindi pa kayo nakaka-join doon sa, or nakakapag-subscribe sa channel, please do so. Nakapin na siya dito sa post. Bet, sorry, Frutas, hindi ko na naka-cover. Sabi ni Leo, thank you for your insight. You're welcome. Jim F. Jen, SMC, sorry, Drew, hindi ko na siya na-cover. Alfred, thanks again, sir. Happy weekend. Okay, so I think that concludes our session today. Thank you so much for joining, and as always, watch out. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. I'll be posting the recording of this session together with its timestamp para mas madali ninyo siyang ma-review. Okay? So that's it. Thank you for joining and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.